Hello and welcome. Today, in honor and celebration of St. Patrick's Day, Spiritual Life Center is proud to present Celtic Crossing, Tunes and Tales of the Gaelic Folk. We've assembled a stellar cast of musicians that I'd like to introduce to you. We have Michael Lawson on cello. We have Lisa Lawson on vocals and violin. Catherine Mandella on drums, pipes, and whistles, and Clark Smith driving it all with his guitar. We're so glad that you've chosen to be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Celtic Crossing.
St. Patrick was a gentleman, he came from decent people. He built a church in Dublin town, and on it put a steeple. His father was a Gallagher, his mother was a Brady. His aunt was an O'Shaughnessy, his uncle was a Grady. So successful St. Patrick, he was a saint so clever. He gave the snakes an awful twist and he banished them forever. The hills are very high, and so's the hill of Hoster. But there's a hill much higher, still much higher than them both, sir. 'Twas on the top of this high hill St. Patrick preached the sermon. He drove the frogs into the bogs and banished all the varmint. So successful St. Patrick, he was a saint so clever. He gave the snakes an awful twist and he banished them forever. Not a mile of Ireland's over dirty vermin masters. But there he put his deer for foot and murdered them in clusters. The frogs went hop, the toads went plump, some dash into the water, and the snakes committed suicide to save themselves from slaughter. So success to bold St. Patrick, he was a saint so clever. He gave the snakes an awful twist and he banished them forever.
St. Patrick's, interesting on his date, and the March 17th was actually not his birth date, but his day he died, which is kind of interesting in celebrating somebody's life when they die and not being born. So March 17th is actually his death date, not his birth date. But that's not unusual for back that time, is because most people didn't know when they were born or have an exact date, a birth date. So the only thing they could base it on is March 17th. The rest, I think everybody knows about the alleged snakes that were on the island that he chased off. The other thing was he was kidnapped when he was 16 by Irish men on a boat and kept for quite a few years, and then got released, and then came back and shared Christianity through Ireland. As the rest of Europe started going dark, Christianity kind of had a safe haven in Ireland. So anyway, that's what St. Patrick's Day is, his death day, not his birthday.
As I was sitting by the fire, talking to old Riley's daughter, suddenly a thought came into my mind. I'd like to marry old Riley's daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum. Riley played on the big bass drum. Riley had a mind for murder and slaughter. Riley had a bright red glittering eye, kept that eye on his lovely daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum. Her eyes were blue. The colonel, major, and the captain saw her. Sergeant, the private, and the drummer boy too, but never had a chance with Riley's daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum. I got me a ring and a parson too, got me a scratch and a married quarter, settled me down to a peaceful life, happy as a king with Riley's daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum. Stairs. Who should it be but Riley at the slaughter, with two pistols in his hands, looking for the man who married his daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum. I caught old Riley by the hair, rammed his head in a pail of water, fired his pistols into the air, a damn sight quicker than I married his daughter. Giddy-yi-yay, 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 for the one-eyed Riley, giddy-yi-yay. Play it on your old bass drum.
So this concert is called Tunes and Tales of the Gaelic Folk. And so we're mostly doing tunes, but you know, within the tunes there are a lot of tales. And there is a wonderful tradition of storytelling in Ireland. When I was looking this up to find out more about it, I found out that the word Celt actually means hidden. Well, the internet says that anyway. And what I found out was that they have a rich history for thousands of years that was just told through oral tradition. And so there were certain storytellers who, I guess they would go out, well, the people would be out in their crofters' fields, and they'd come in and they'd meet by the fire, and maybe they'd have a ceilidh, a dance, but they would have storytelling. And there were certain people who were storytellers who would tell the serious history of Ireland and of the Celtic people. Whereas there are also stories that were told in song. And I found out that some of these stories, there's a tradition of telling yarns. So yarns, they would start with, they'd say the location, and they'd say who it was, who their family was, because that was super important. And they'd tell the stories and personal details. And then after that, they would wrap it up with a punchline. And so you'll hear, as you listen to some of these songs, you'll hear that they have this form, like the St. Patrick was a gentleman. He came of decent people. He built a church in Dublin town and on it put a steeple. That's exactly those things. And so some of the other tales that we will be telling will be like that. And others will be ballads, which are just like nice, sweet love songs. The next song we're going to be doing is called Spanish Lady. As I came down through Dublin City at the hour of 12 at night, who should I see but a Spanish lady washing her feet by candlelight? First she washed them, then she dried them over a fire of amber coal. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so sweet about the soul. Whack for the toora-lo-lura laddie, whack for the toora-lura lay. Whack for the toora-lo-lura laddie, whack for the toora-lura lay. As I came back through Dublin City at the hour of 8:30, who should I spy but the Spanish lady brushing her hair in the broad daylight? First she tossed it, then she brushed it. On her lap was a silver comb. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so fair since I did roam. Whack for the toora-lo-lura laddie, whack for the toora-lura lay. Whack for the toora-lo-lura laddie, whack for the toora-lura lay. life of the Spanish lady, catching a moth in a golden net. When she saw me, then she fled me, lifting her petticoat o'er her knee. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so shy as the Spanish lady. Whack for the toora-lo-loora laddie, whack for the toora-loora lay. Whack for the toora-lo-loora laddie, whack for the toora-loora lay. Whack for the toora-lo-loora laddie, whack for the toora-loora lay. Whack for the toora-lo-loora laddie, whack for the toora-loora lay. This next tune set starts with a tune called Union Valley that I wrote a few years back when I was actually at Union Valley Reservoir, which is up 50 a little ways from here. And then it goes into a traditional tune called Drowsy Maggie. We learned this next set of tunes from a band called Lunasa, who are some of the superstars of the Irish world. And we were fortunate enough to go hear them a year or two ago before everything shut down at the Sophia. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. I pulled me hair, stole me comb, but that's alright till I get home. She's handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She's a court and a 1, 2, 3. Hey, won't you tell me who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her. All the other boys are fighting for her. The knock at the door, the ring at the bell, saying, oh, my true love, are you well? Here she comes, as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Old Johnny Morrissey says she'll die if she doesn't get the pillow with the rope and knife. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled me hair, stole me comb, but that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She's a court and a 1, 2, 3. Hey, won't you tell me who is she? Let the wind and the rain and the hail blow high, and the snow comes traveling through the sky. She's as sweet as apple pie, she'll get her own life by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her Ma when she gets home. Let them all just come as they will, it's Albert Mooney, he she loves still. Tell me, Ma, when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled me hair, stole me comb, but that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She's a court and a 1, 2, 3. Hey, won't you tell me who is she?
So I'd like to say something about my instrument. It may not seem like a traditional Celtic band instrument, but in fact, the cello, as it's called, or violoncello, was possibly an instrument in a Scottish dance band a long time ago, before the guitar and all the other instruments that you typically see in a band were present. These violin family instruments were not courtly instruments, not high classical music instruments in the 18th century, or maybe even before. They were more street instruments for parties and things that, just regular entertainment. So I learned that a long time ago when we visited a Scottish flute maker who pointed out that the band that I was in, which was me and Lisa, was a perfect Scottish dance band. And the next song is something that I created the accompaniment for. Before I had a guitar to play, I couldn't play a guitar and a cello at the same time, and I didn't have guitarists around me like I do today. So Clark has made way for me to play the chords for this next song, Star of the County Down.
The next tune set that we're going to do has some traditional tunes, but the first one is called Tenpenny Bit, and the last one is called Rakish Paddy. And that Rakish Paddy is a really old tune. There's about 15 versions on the website, The Session, that are actually printed out if you're interested in learning that. But the middle tune is called The Gale, and that was written by Doogie McLean. And that tune is featured in Last of the Mohicans, so you may recognize it.
So in the last tune that we just played featured the bagpipes. And usually when people hear bagpipes, they instantly go to Scotland. But actually, bagpipes exist in a lot of parts of the world, and it was actually the Romans that brought them to Scotland. And the pipes that I played here, and will be playing again, are shepherd's small pipes, and they're actually a Scottish pipe. But every European nation and most northern African countries and a lot of other countries have their own type of bagpipe. For example, the gaita in Spain and the zamora in Italy, and the Norwegians have one, the Germans have one, the Northumbrian pipes, the Irish Ellen pipes. But at any rate, the Romans picked them up from, in their gallivanting around and came across some players in northern India, and they were the ones that actually spread the bagpipe concept to a lot of that part of the world. So this next tune we're going to feature, which is Loch Lomond, you'll hear them again.
Yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes the sun shines bright on the Clomond. There me and my true love spent many happy days on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, you take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. For me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Was there that we parted in yon shady glen on the steep, steep side of Ben Lomond, where in purple hue the Highland hills we view, and the moon glinting out in the glow. You'll take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. For me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. the wildflowers spring and the wee birdies sing, and in sunshine the waters are sleepy. But the broken heart, it kens nae second spring, though resigned we may be while we're greeting. Oh, ye'll take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland and for ye. For me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks The next song is called Both Sides the Tweed. And this song, the words are very old, but the tune for this song was written in 1979, and it is based on an event that happened, and commenting on an event that happened in 1707 when the English and the Scottish parliaments were merged to become the United Kingdom. And then again in 1979, this song was written because there was another vote that had to do with the independence of the Scottish Parliament. And there was some connivery and corruption involved in this. And so this song about Both Sides the Tweed is about the River Tweed, which runs along the border of England, Scotland for part of the border. And it is encouraging, it's commenting on the corruption, but still encouraging independence, but also friendship. What's the spring breathing jasmine and rose? What's the summer with all its gay train? What's the splendor of autumn to those who've bartered their freedom for gain? Let the love of our land sacred rise to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honor unite and flourish on both sides the Tweed. Sweetness the senses can cheer, which corruption and bribery bind. No brightness the sun can e'er clear, for honor's the sum of the mind. Let the of our people succeed. Let friendship and honor unite and flourish on both sides the Tweed. Let virtue distinguish the brave with riches in lowest degree. Think them poorest who can be a slave, them richest who dare to be free. Let the love of our land's sacred rights to the love of our people succeed. Let friendship and honor unite and flourish on both sides the tweed.
So as we bring our last set of tunes to you this evening, we just wanted to thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure playing. Even if you couldn't be here physically, we know you're out there, and we're still connecting you through the ethers. In this piece that we're going to play, it's actually going to feature maybe kind of an odd tune for a Celtic situation, but it's actually an Australian didgeridoo that was a eucalyptus branch that was hollowed out by termites. However, the ancient Irish had a horn, the ancient Irish horn, that it was made in bronze. It was during the Bronze Age, and they were used in a lot of purposes. The Druids often used them. And I actually heard the story. You don't hear much about it, and it's not even really written about. But Mary, Mother Mary, apparently had a brother named Joseph, if I recall correctly. And he was a businessman, and he owned a fleet of ships. And so they would often accompany Joseph when he would go on his journeys, and one of the places that he would get his tin, this was, a hot commodity in those days, and the British Isles had that resource. So Mary would get Jesus, and they'd join him and go to the British Isles, and while Joseph was off taking care of business, Mary and Jesus would go off and spend time with the Druids and learned from them. And one of the things that they were learning were things such as the use of frequencies to heal both people, the environment, anything to lift up spirits and heal. And the instrument that you're going to see, it doesn't matter that it's from Australia. You'll hear some other things called bells, also known as crotals, and it doesn't matter that we're using a Swiss cowbell or a Tibetan taltong, but they all are doing the same basic thing. So we're glad you were here, and here is our final tune for you.